Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Keep the Mic On. I am simply Sherry, and as you know and are well aware, since March of 2020, we have been here every week in conversation with an amazing artist of so many different disciplines, and we are really excited, always excited, to bring in and meet new people. My week is third Sundays next week, where I took my segment is called Keep Them from behind the microphone, where we take the time to get to know the person behind the art because they are people too. Right now, I'm going to kick it to the only girl genius.
Hey everyone, the pointing is hilarious. I am Danielle Reed, also known as Girl Genius. Great to be here this week, back with another fantastic episode. I am first week of every month. That was last week. So I'm back at the beginning of June. My segment is called Let's Talk About the dot dot dot. Usually that means books, but sometimes we talk about other things. I'm hoping if all goes well, next one will not be about a book. It'll be about something really spectacular. So you'll just have to wait and see what happens. That's about it for me. Again, first week of every month, and boom, I'm gonna point downward. I'm gonna point downward because I can do that. My favorite hostess with the mostest, and your poet laureate for the city of Alexandria, Miss Kaniki J.
Hello, everybody. Listen, I am always super excited, and I think I am most excited about the blouse that our guest has on today. So keep the clothes. Keep the clothes. That's all I'm saying. This is our opportunity for me to tell you.
I just noticed that you changed your
Yes, because I'm now poet in residence for Northern Virginia Fine Arts Association.
That's the one.
And I'm doing big things like dropping titles and things. In a minute, my titles are gonna be as long as the email because it's real. I've been changing titles to different emails that I send out. Yeah, it is real. So I'm doing the thing. I mean, I heard it saying one time, if not you, then who? So I'm trying to do all the things, you know what I'm saying? Not at the same time, but I'm trying to do all the things, if that makes sense.
Right.
So speaking of all the things, this is Keep the Mic On, where all of these things are not free. So if you would like to support us so that we can
keep the mic on,
right? Scrolling at the bottom of your screen, you can see our Cash App and our Patreon. Everybody that comes on this show, they volunteer their times. This is a wonderful platform that has been coined a masterclass. You said it, we didn't. So if you want to continue to get those masterclasses, continue to like, share, subscribe, and support us financially. My week is fourth week, and my week is called Poets and Platforms, where I interview poets who have platforms for the arts. But I'm super excited about tonight is going down. It already went down, really. Y'all had missed it. One of these days, we're going to open up a room so y'all can come in early on there. And you know what I'm saying? It goes down too before the show. So I'm going to kick it to, let me see which way. This way, it's so crazy. This way, the one and the only Miss Cayenne.
I'm telling you, it is such an awesome time hanging out with these wonderful ladies on Keep the Mic On. It doesn't matter what kind of day I'm having when we have our show for these next hour and some change. It's like all of that goes away and we just have a good old time. And tonight is no different. I am Miss Cayenne. I'm a poet and I know it. My segment is called Passion Projects, where we kind of delve into the roots behind the why you do what you do. Why you do what you do. So tonight's guest, guys, is going to be a wonderful conversation. And I'm looking forward to introducing her to you guys as my co-host, do their thing, slide out. All right. So let me introduce to you all tonight our wonderful guest, Rebekah Laur'en. She is a singer, a songwriter, a composer, and producer from Virginia. She holds a bachelor's degree in vocal performance from Westminster Choir College, where she gained her classical training as a full lyric soprano. Yep, a full lyric soprano. And shortly after training, Rebekah would pivot from opera for another musical journey. She continued creating original music with a unique sound and a style placement of an alternative R&B artist. In 2019, she released her first album titled Sober. Rebekah hopes to candidly capture hearts and translate music into healing for listeners. Now, I don't think she claims to be a poet, but that was very poetic, wasn't it? Wasn't it? So Rebekah Laur'en is also the founder of Soundproof 4, an independent record label. Join me in welcoming Rebekah Laur'en. She's like, hi, how you doing? It's good to have you. It's good to have you.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on the show. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Yeah, it's amazing. We'll talk about it. It's amazing even how we met, and then you just never know. You just never know how things may pan out. But what I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna run my mouth. I'm gonna immediately exit stage left so that the audience can get a taste of what I was just talking about. All right.
All right. It feels good. Sounds good. All right. I'm gonna actually do a piano version of my song Regardless, which is actually on my album Sober that I released in 2019. I know you've got baggage, we all do, baby. I know you've got pain, we all do, baby. I know you're tired of the same things. I know you're tired of feeling the same way. I know you've got your fears too. Well, damn it, I do. But I'ma love you regardless, baby. And I'm gonna give you every inch of me, yeah. I'm gonna give you everything you deserve, yeah. Regardless, will you receive it? Regardless, 'cause I'm gonna give it. Regardless, I'm gonna give you everything, regardless. Yes. Oh, regardless, baby. See, listen. I know you've got your guards up. We all do, baby. I know you've got trust issues. We all do, baby. Yeah. But I'm a fighter, so you know I won't quit, no. See, I'ma march around your walls until they come crumbling down like Jericho. Oh, yeah. See, I ain't doing this here for nothing. I've been putting in overtime just to show you that you're mine. Yeah. My baby, I'ma love you. Yeah. Regardless, will you receive it? Regardless, 'cause I'm gonna give it. Regardless, I'm gonna give you everything. Regardless, will you receive it? Regardless, 'cause I'm gonna give it. Regardless, regardless. Thank you. I can't hear you. You're muted. Yeah.
I'm so excited over here. I forgot to unmute myself. That was fabulous.
Thank you.
And that's on your album Sober, the one you released in 2019?
Yes, that is. And that's like an acoustic version, so to say, of it.
Okay.
But the other one, it is a full production, which was arranged, composed, and written by me completely, fully. So, yeah.
Yes, I love it. Arranged, composed, completed, signed, all that. You the writer, the star, the producer, all of that. So that entire album is all original work?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh my gosh. That's kind of hot. I was digging that. I was jamming over here. I was jamming over here. Thank you for sharing that. Because I was always curious. You know, you hear the background, your training and things like that, and then, you know, like you said, you pivoted into a more of an R&B, alternative R&B. So I was like, what does that sound like? You know, that type of thing. And so I had an opportunity to listen to some of your stuff, of course, prior to tonight.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I feel you. I can vibe with that. You know what I'm saying? So that's awesome. Now, this is one of the things I love about you, and I know we are kind of new to one another, but it's one of the things I love about you is that you cannot judge. It just reminds me that you cannot judge a book by its cover, because, and I'm just being very honest. Like, I'm thinking, okay, classically trained soprano. That's not how people who are that look. Because, you know, I've been to operas, and there's a certain look. I have a couple of associates that I wouldn't say friends per se, and, you know, they have the bun, and they're very conservative, you know.
Yes, they are.
And so I may dig them, but I may not hang out with them, because, you know, I may be a little more chill. So I remember thinking, wait, what? Yeah. That's just a reminder to me not to judge a book by its cover, because we can be anything and whatever we can have all these wonderful things inside of us, but never to. It's just a wonderful. You are a wonderful reminder for me. It was, seriously, you know, remember not to make these preconceived notions define what you may think or what you think it should look like, despite your experiences, you know, what I've seen. So I appreciate that about you already, because you've challenged me to remember not to do that. Now, with that said, though, how did the pivot come into place? How you go from, you know,
from opera to R&B and hip hop and everything else? Well, I always wrote my own music. Production for me actually started when I was 14 years old. I was actually gifted a software program called Cakewalk, and I always had melodies in my head. I learned how to play instruments by ear when I was younger, and my first lesson professionally was when I was like 17. It was literally the year before I was graduating from high school. And I never forget when I went in for my first voice lesson, it was an African-American lady. And she said, actually, we're going to try you in opera. And I wanted to, you know, learn how to riff and do R&B and all this other stuff. But she put me in a competition. And I remember the first song was Se Ben Crudele, which was it's an Italian song. And it was fun. I didn't see the seriousness in it. I won first place. Like, I went all the way to regionals, but I didn't realize it was intense for somebody who only had, you know, lessons for as short of a time as I did. But I loved opera, and I pursued it. I went into Westminster Choir College in Princeton, New Jersey, which was an intense program. There I got the opportunity to perform at Carnegie Hall and even the Kimmel Center with some of the world's most known and famous conductors and composers. But I was on a stage one day, and the opera world is very conservative, but it's also, in a sense, like a dinosaur. It's very old. They are not open to the concept of blending more. So I love the spirituals because it tells our story, but I got kind of tired of singing spirituals all the time. And then on top of it, like, my favorite composers were German composers, so like Schubert, Schumann, all of them. I love singing their music, but so many people sung it before. I mean, they've been sung for centuries, literally. So I was like, but I got something to say too. And so I found my freedom in writing and composing in my style of R&B and hip hop, but also adding my own twist and style and just my own unique flair to it. And in that, I left the opera world professionally and I transitioned here. And it's been a very interesting journey. That's what I'll say. It's been very interesting.
I can imagine. I can only imagine, because well, I don't know. I'm not a singer. I'm not, you know, definitely not a professional singer. So let me not pretend, but I have you know, I do have associates and friends who are professional singers, professional performers in that way. And my singing has always been like backup or here and there, very minimal. So, but there, and even for me with no experience like that, well, not no experience, but just not a professional experience in that way, there's a style that I have, you know, this is what I do. And to think about shifting seemingly so intensely, I would imagine that journey would be kind of challenging. So let me ask you this though, like, but it sounds like you've had a lot of support, and I'm assuming you can tell me if I'm wrong, with your musical endeavors, even at a young age. You talked about kind of playing around, having gifted with the software and things like that. So was your family surprised at the pivot?
No. My mother, she's a musician as well. I come from a family of just self-taught musicians. I grew up with music in my household. So, but my mother was also a minister when I was young, and I was in the, music ministry, praise and worship.
Yeah, that was me.
So, I did a lot of things there as well, but I would write even songs for the church. That was kind of where it all began. But I've always been able to do multiple genres. Like, even when I was doing opera, I was still doing music theater. Like, I would do Broadway themed and all that type of stuff. So now we knew we were coming into a time where artists had to be versatile. Like, you had to do more than just one thing. Like, you couldn't just sing opera. You had to also know how to sing, what's my guy's name on Broadway? Gosh, I can't think of his name right now. But you had to be able to also go and audition for, Phantom of the Opera. Sondheim pieces and stuff like that. So my family was used to me being an overall entertainer. So always had support.
So you the singing, acting,
all of
that. Dance?
Yeah, dancing, yeah.
I did see you drinking a little bit of videos. I was like,
you buddy.
Now how we kind of engaged was because I'm a poet. I think I know the other hosts are poets and writers and professionals in their own right. And so for those who may not know, people are like, how do you know? How do you guys know? I had the pleasure we're both working with Creative Suitland as artist partners with Creative Suitland in Prince George's County and Suitland, Maryland. And we both had a workshop at Suitland that day. And so I was like, anybody coming to myself, anybody coming to this workshop? And you so kindly said, hey, I'll stay because I'm here in this room anyway. And I remember listening even to your class and thinking, this is poetry, that kind of thing. So
it is poetry.
So, and I know we often talk about song ultimately is a poem and set to music in some way. Some may argue differently, but I always felt that way. Now, do you write anything that you find is not necessarily a song, but it is just a poem?
Oh, all the time.
Okay.
I have such a great love for poets in general. I know this also goes back to just in general, like of what I studied in school. In college, like for instance, the main poet that they had was like Goethe. Goethe was a major poet during the German lead time. So the music was always a picture reflecting that of the poetry. I mean, that of the poetry. And that words are important. I think that was the first time I really saw how powerful words really are without us realizing how powerful they are.
Yeah.
And I've just always had a love for it because the thing is, if it doesn't say anything with the music taken away, then it's not saying anything at all. And that's what I have always understood as a musician. You have to literally be saying something. The music is communicating in a spiritual manner where people are feeling it. It's bringing the words to life. But if they don't feel anything when it's just being, read out loud, it's not saying anything.
Yeah.
So I have a huge love for poetry. Yeah.
That's powerful. You said something there. And I want to come back to it because you talked about, if it's not saying anything, if you take away the music, it's not saying anything, then what's the point there? And there's a whole conversation, I'm sure about music, particularly, I would say particularly among our younger people, but quite honestly, anybody, because everybody says they're the best generation music, whatever. And there's a whole conversation about the music of this era and maybe a little bit further back, where there's an argument whether or not it's saying anything. There's a great beat, though. There's a great beat.
Yeah.
But wondering is the same thing. But that's a comment. I'm gonna come back to that because I want to know your thoughts about it because I know that's your wheelhouse. So Sober is your album, which is like I said, an opportunity to listen to some of it, and it's definitely it's fire, y'all. You know what I'm saying? You see the Cash App below. You see the website above. I'm sorry. Definitely go to the website and hear and listen and check it out? Can people buy your can they get your music from there? Okay.
I mean, it's streamed everywhere, but you can go to bandcamp.com and actually purchase it. But you can also go to streams equal buying as well. Literally, if you go to Apple, Spotify, I'm everywhere. Even if you just Google my name, everything pops up for it. So
awesome. You need to go check it out, y'all. Because it's fine. It's a nice vibe. So would that album be categorized as R&B, or is there a special genre that it goes in?
Honestly, it's R&B soul, but I would honestly say experimental. I wasn't going for a genre. I'll be honest, I'm not into being categorized. I just go with the vibe. You know what I'm saying? It's music. Music at the end of the day can't be put in a box. So yeah, it's whatever you want it to be.
I love it. Will a person be able to hear hints of your soprano opera background ever in your current musical endeavors?
Oh man, now a lot of the new music that I am working on, like it's all in there actually now. I'm working on like multiple projects actually at the moment, but I would say for Sober, that album was more of a mood. I wasn't really going for vocal, showing off vocal range or anything like that. I was just, that album was birthed out of a lot of pain and then also a lot of healing as well. Just changes and shifts that people go through with life, learning people, relationships, love, family, everything. But what I am working on now is more art in the sense of capturing like the actual training and also just growth in general. So I can't wait to like release what I'm working on. I'm actually working on an EP called Smoke and Mirrors, and that it's more of a mixture. We still don't know what genre it is. Don't really care to know.
But we're not gonna put it in the box.
You know, you got some funky soul to it, and then there's like R&B, and then there's some sounds of today, but then there's like mixture of orchestral, and it's a lot. I'm excited about that. So
that sounds exciting. When should we expect that one?
So this summer actually. We're just it's solid. It's in the ground. It's just one of those things where it's like, how do I want to release it? Like, do I want to get y'all a little bit in there? But it's I'm excited about it because there's also music videos with it that are also, they'll be telling a story. So I'm in the works of a lot of stuff. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah. That is well, you know what? That kind of leads me right into one of my other questions. What I like to do when I read a bio is like one of our co-hosts, Kaniki Jakarta, often says, by the time we have a guest on, we read their bio, the bio is usually outdated. And so there's always something else that has popped up. So that actually leads me right into another. I mean, I literally have on my paper here. Tell me more about all the other things that you're doing. We know that you sing. We know, you know what I'm saying, that you play instruments. We just read this a little bit, but tell us. We know because I read it that you have a label as well. But tell us some of the projects. What else do you do?
Well, so some of the projects that I'm working on. So like I still compose. I'll mess around classically, but like it's turning into like a lot more than just messing around.
Okay.
During quarantine, as everybody, things changed, right? Like we all shifted and came into a certain center of ourselves, right? Wow. But during quarantine, it was like the world actually stood still to actually see what we're actually talking about by police brutality and the fact that our lives do matter. And I just had a project idea that came to mind with all of that. And it was just in the sense of speaking on behalf of the ancestors to us now. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. It's an intense project. That one is very emotional. I've had people who are going to be on the project listen to all the tracks that are already being drafted and arranged, and they have literally cried. So it's like, that's an emotional project. And that one will not just be me. It'll be other singers who are actually opera singers and just overall talented individuals in other areas of themselves. So I'm excited about that project. I will not get the name of that one yet. But I'm also arranging music for a Black female here in the DMV who is an author. She's writing a book, and but she is also having music along with her book, so it's like an audio book, but it's also like a theme thing going on with it.
Wow.
She's dope. I'm excited to be I'm honored actually to have been asked to arrange the music for that. And then also just writing songs for like other artists too, and then just working on my projects. So it's I'm excited. And then also, I mean, Creative Suitland, we got workshops coming up this summer. So
right. Tomorrow, feel like, oh my gosh. I need to.
So,
yeah, I got a deadline. I got to make sure I get those.
Yeah, I was gonna text you about that. Be like, girl, how you doing over there with that?
Oh my gosh, I almost forgot till you mentioned this. Oh my, is it on my wall? No, I gotta put it on I got a chalkboard wall over here with my big to-do list.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
but it's exciting. It's a lot of fun stuff. But also, I got shows and stuff coming up this summer. Like it's a lot of fun things going on. So I'm excited.
So well, I guess following you and going to your website, people can find out as far as where you may be performing. Is that what?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I'm mostly active on Instagram. I'm working on that. Everybody's like, you gotta get on TikTok, you gotta get on, and I'm working on even updating my website because my website's kind of like basic, but you get the gist of who I am as an artist.
Right.
But Instagram is where I really am active, and I talk to people. Like I tell people, talk to me, I'll talk back. Yeah. And I send out invites to my shows personally through Instagram. So like you'll even get a message from me and I'll say, hey, I got the show coming up, put it on your calendar. Just want to let you know. And I like to connect with people. I don't just, I don't like just being an artist and it's the concept of those are my followers. No, right. I connect, so yeah, the Instagram is where I'm mostly active. So yeah.
That's important. I get it because you're doing so many wonderful things and one of the things I'm not to be I'm so impressed by, so enamored maybe by, because you seemingly started your path of creative confidence so early, like very early in the game, and there are plenty of people who have. Young people who start in the industry of entertainment and they do their thing. So that's not necessarily uncommon, but I'm using this word very intentionally. And I'm using this word because of, again, based on just conversations, which I know have been limited, but the conversations nonetheless, one of the things I remember in our initial conversations was just you really talking about understanding who you are. And even if you're different, even if your voice is different, your style is different, so what? Walk in that, be in that. And even as you're discussing with us today, your journey thus far, where it was, okay, I went to do this, I went to the opera, then I said, but I always had this going on. So you seemingly, in my outward observation, have begun to walk in this creative confidence pretty early in the game. Where do you get that creative confidence from? Is it because your family was a musical family and you're always already being encouraged in that? Or is there another source or maybe a combination?
So I'm very spiritual. Okay. I have had a lot of transitions in my spirituality, and but I've always known, I'm gonna be honest, since I came to this world, I knew I was going to be an entertainer. I did know that. Okay. But that's not to say my confidence has not been challenged. I went actually through a very long time in the desert, as I would like to say. And college, it was a great experience, but my confidence was actually shook around that time in my life. But a lot of things in me were broken to be rebuilt. And I'm in like a whole new time in my life. And I've recently come back to the area of confidence in myself that I'm fully aware of my confidence.
Gotcha.
And that took some rebuilding, but I am thankful because all my life, because I had a knowing in me and my family did speak it over me, like just positivity in general. Like my family always spoke, you can do whatever you want to do, do it. And, but also when my family wasn't there sometimes because I'm by myself in certain spaces, it was just me. The speaking life over myself. And I mean, it's that whole notion, as they say, know who you are, because they'll try to take everything from you, but they can't take that from you. And when I was in some real challenging moments where I thought I had to change, or I thought I wasn't good enough, or I thought I wasn't talented enough, or I thought, maybe I had to start competing, or I started to look outside of self, there was that thing in me that was so rooted that no matter what, I just knew, nah, I'm gonna stick to what I know. I'm not gonna quit. I don't care how long and how hard I'm struggling. I know at the end I'm gonna get what I really want. So it's a decision. You have to make a decision in yourself. Once you have started a path in your life, you have to make a decision to stick with it, because that decision will be your rock in every situation. And that decision is what we call faith. And that is the God honest truth.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it is. So yeah, I've had times where I didn't feel as confident, but I bet on myself. It's like, I'm here. I've gotten this far with it. They can't, and my grandma would say, they can't tell you no and shoot you too. So, it's like, it's just, you got to believe in yourself. It's all a choice. It's discipline. It really is the time that you've also put in yourself. You're confident when you practice and you study.
Yeah.
You go in a room when you have studied and you have done everything you're supposed to do and that they've given you, you go in that room, you do that test, without a doubt, you're going to pass it, and you do. It's the same thing with whatever you choose to do in life. Put the time in, put the work in. You won't have to worry about anything. The confidence, it just builds itself at that point.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's good. That's good talk right there. I mean, I can definitely relate, in that from this angle, that there was always something in me, even as a kid, with all the dysfunction, right? Even in the presence of whatever that was going on in my life, there was always this gnawing in me that felt like it contradicted my surroundings. So I was always bantering back and forth, but there was this internal thing that, I just like, I don't know, but there's greatness here. Yeah. I don't know, but there's great. I mean, that's what I would constantly, I don't know, but there's greatness here. I don't know what to tell you, type of thing. And so, but life happens and things happen. So, and with that said, I know you work with kids. We didn't talk about that. You work with kids. So you teach kids?
I do. I work with kids. I teach kids. So I teach music and other stuff. Like,
okay, you teach music. So like voice or keyboard or
voice and piano.
Okay. Yeah, so what age?
Ooh, all ages actually. Oh, okay. All the little ones. As they call early childhood, middle school, elementary school, middle school, high school.
Okay.
And that's great actually, because I love kids. I do. I love kids because they're the future. They're tomorrow. Yeah. So it's like imparting as much as you can in them. That's like the best thing. But you said something though, when you said that thing, like you always felt there was something great.
Yeah.
And I'm just going back to that because the concept is self-awareness is a very important thing. And like that thing of your I am that's in you.
Yes.
And like that tapping into it. So I'm saying that because it was funny because I had a conversation with some of my kids this week. And some of them, like they're smart as a whip, but their environments reflect.
That's where I was going. Exactly. That's where I was going.
And it was just funny because one of my students was saying to him, I said, okay, you don't have to be what you're around. The whole concept is to shift what you're around. And then when you get to a point, you shift out. And they were like, what you mean by that? So
what you mean? What you talking?
So I told them the concept of like dirty water. When you got dirt and water, but then you have a filter, you can actually filter the dirt out and you pour it in, and all of a sudden the water's, you do some more systematic stuff and blah, 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 before you know the water's clean. Yeah. And so all of a sudden they understood that because they're really smart. And they were just like, oh, so I got to become like clean water. I'm like, okay, something like that. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
They going to be walking around like, you know what? You better be lucky I'm trying to become clean water right now because I'm about to steal you right now.
Literally. Like, don't be your environment that you're around. You ain't got to take it in. That doesn't mean it's not going to flow through you, but you just, Right.
No, that's excellent. That's exactly where I was going because I knew that you work with young people. And I've worked with young people most of my life in some capacity. Even when I was a kid, I was working with kids, So, and often, of course, we know that every kid in the world isn't in this circumstance, but the kids that I often had the privilege of working with, didn't have the knowing, or maybe they did, but it was constantly buried by whatever circumstance. The voices that they were hearing from their environment, from family, whatever, were often negative. And so for when a person like myself would show up and say, oh, what you want to do with yourself, or you can do it. It was like, clatter and noise because like, what are you talking about, lady? I remember very clearly when I used to teach in Baltimore City. I remember very clearly in my naivety as a teacher asking this young person, what do you see for yourself? What do you think you may want to try out when you finish high school? And they paused and they were so confused looking. And they said to me, I'm gonna sit on the porch. I'm gonna sit on my front porch, because everybody in their immediate world, that's what they did all day. Is they sat on the porch. He literally said to me, I'm gonna sit on the porch.
Dang, man. Well, man, what you
And
see?
it blew my
What you do?
mind.
Yeah.
It blew my mind. So you've been, blessed to have, like you said, that knowing, and of course it's been challenged and shook. If you live, it better be. That's part of
That's
living.
the point of living.
That's part of living. But, it sounds like you also had something to kind of to lean back on, or a memory that was positive to lean back on. What do you say to children who definitely don't have that experience? How do you help them, tap into that knowing?
I think it's very important once you introduce these ideas to kids that, they see that they have somebody in you, first of all, at first, but sometimes you don't see them again, and the concept is you have to build in them a concept that you will be by yourself many times. Nobody's going to cheer for you like you. You got to remind them of the relationship with themselves. Like, I drive into my students, the relationship that is the most important relationship is how you talk to yourself in the mirror every morning. That shows who you are to you. And that's how people will treat you according to how you treat you. And it would be like, how kids are, what you talking about? So, but it's just, I instill in kids the thing of belief, meaning exploring, like explore yourself, explore the world around you. Don't just look at what's in front of you. Go out, build your confidence, like even sitting at a restaurant by yourself or something, it's like, or you don't have to hang out with the same group of friends. Meet new kids, like go make new friends, it's that builds confidence even. And if they don't like you, so what? It's that concept of getting kids, comfortable with being by themselves. Because a lot of us are actually okay being by ourselves until we, you get around other kids, you get older, and then society shows you TV and you see them with all their friends and you feel like you got to have all these friends. And it's like, that's TV, that's not reality.
Right.
But it's a thing of just, and I think for me, because I work in the arts, it just helps for them to get that sense of self-confidence, because you're not going to get the piano part right if you don't have that self-confidence in yourself. Because your mom and dad probably going to yell at you and tell you to shut up, you're too loud. Right. Learn to practice quietly, but you still practice. It's a determination thing. It's a choice. If you come in here, I'm going to give you a whole lot of crap if you come in here and it ain't all the way like it's supposed to be. But they don't want that side, so they start to, it's a self-confidence builder. Everything is just reminding kids about self-love, and I think that's the biggest thing that's missing, because a lot of them don't see the people around them loving themselves.
Yeah.
So, it's just, you just drilling them, and I drill it in my kids as much as I can. Even if I got a kid for a week, I'm like, okay, we're going to drill this in your head. And, it's just teach them something outside of themselves that's foreign in a sense. So
no, that's awesome. One of the things I think you may have heard, one of our co-hosts said that the audience has dubbed this as a masterclass, because there's so many golden nuggets that are often dropped by creatives that come on the show. And I think even though the focal question was about the kids, I understood that, because truth of the matter is, if you can get a young person to understand that, they grow into adults who understand that. But the principle works whether you're a child or an adult, that how you treat yourself, what you speak to yourself, is kind of how others will. And that's kind of that confidence building. So I think it's a golden nugget that anybody can take away that you shared with how we speak to ourselves is very important. So here's a question. Is kind of a quirky question, but
okay.
All right. What are you we've talked already, you shared already how, which is interesting, you've composing songs for other writers and other artists, and plus your own and that kind of thing, and just shaping the minds of the future. There's so many different things you've already, you've been doing and have done. What are you most proud of now, and why?
The thing that I'm most proud of now is, just connecting with people. The fact that my music has done what I've wanted it to do, not on the grand scale, but just in general. Like, anytime I sing my songs, people always say, oh, that really helped me, or this did this for me, thank you. I get messages all the time about that. And it's like, I'm just thankful that it's reaching somebody. I don't care how many, it's just somebody.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful that my gifts have taken me to places that, even I wouldn't have imagined, but also just the fact that, I don't know, they're starting to build community, and it's starting to, just really affect my environment. And that's what I want.
Yeah.
And yeah,
That's awesome.
That's the biggest thing I'm proud of.
Excuse me. So would I be correct in saying that for you, what you desire of your art and of your creativity, which is your music, and is to touch people in a way that they feel transformed? What would you say would be the point of your music? Like, people sing because I'm talented, or because it's fun, I like it, I'm an entertainer. But what would you say is the actual point of Rebekah Laur'en's music?
To wake up people's hearts again.
Mm.
I'm just, like I said, since I came in this world, I've just always known. But no, like, seriously,
you come out the womb with a microphone like,
yeah. You can ask my mama, like, she tell you I was singing and dancing in diapers, you know what I'm saying? But but no, I just laugh because, like, with the music, I listen to it nowadays. It's not saying anything, so we don't think it is, but it's dubbing down, our spirituality. Our kids it's just gibberish. But there's a mission to everything that happens in life. You know what I'm saying? It's not, and nothing is just being.
Okay.
Everything has a purpose. Yeah. And hearts is a big thing for me, because people have gotten away from their hearts. Like, humanity is not as conscious as they should have been, or as they once were, simply because they're not in tune with their hearts. And a lot of that is just people knowing how to heal. So it's just waking up that component of healing, starting your process of healing, doing your shadow work, sitting with self, looking at yourself. Now, like, I want my music to reflect the reality of things. Like, your relationships are crappy because you are in a space in self that is not reflecting what you want. Yeah. And you're not doing the self work, but also just giving hope and just loving on people and music. And I just really want to bring people back to the source of the heart, which is love. Yeah. And that's the reality of it. That's really what my passion is people. I love people. I have a passion for people. And it's not even about me. That's the thing I always tell people. I'm just the vessel that was sent here for the time being. Yeah. But truthfully, it's not about me, because I get touched too. When y'all get touched, I get touched too. And that's the mission of it all. Like, I heal even more when I help heal others, and others help heal me. It's the same thing. I pour in your cup, you pour in mine. So,
exactly.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's powerful. Matters of the heart, getting back, awaken the heart. Wow, that is, again, another poetic visual for me, anyway. Definitely that. No, I appreciate that, and I think that's powerful. I think that's another place where we connected that day we met, because I think I was representing my nonprofit, with the intention of that. Very simplistically, I'm sure I need to build infrastructure more, but very simplistically, that's why
it was good, though. It was very good, because even I got tips. I was like, dang, I ain't never thought about that. Yeah.
Right, is to come to a place of healing, to create safe spaces for people to express and emote. And so that's one of the areas I knew that we kind of, there was a overlapping of intention about what we're doing in our art, however it comes out, whether it's a workshop, whether it's, a song, but at the end of the day, coming back to a place where folks can experience that healing, that wholeness, which is ultimately, in my mind, coming back to their original self, the original plan for who you were designed and destined to be, because I think we've gotten away from that. You mentioned something, so I said I wanted to come back to it, which is the music. Now, this is a conversation I have with all kind of people. It don't be an argument, but definitely a discussion where I just, like, I know I'm getting old, because I'm almost 50 years old, but I'm just like, what is going on? And one of the things you really enlightened me, and I knew this, but how you explained it was really good, and I wanted to hear it again, or maybe you can elaborate on, like, the vibration of music and how music really does. It's a physiological impact. Of course, we feel a certain way, but it's kind of intangible. But there's a physiological impact of music, the tones and the vibrations, that can really, sway a generation in one way or another. And you kind of talked about that. What are your thoughts about today's music? Talk about it.
Today's music reflects today, chaotic. It makes no sense, but it speaks to the mindsets that a lot of our kids have. Like this younger generation coming up, I think they're called the Alpha generation.
I think so.
And they are grown, and they think they are, but they're not. And Kanye West, he is so controversial, but at the same time, he makes a lot of sense.
Wow. Yeah.
He talked about how they're dubbing the music down on purpose for our kids, and he said, and like everything is these 808s. And I remember I had actually talked about this back in college, and it was like when he did 808s and Heartbreak. He did that before I was in college, but still, I had actually did a paper on it. And I was talking about how the sense of, everybody knows that in music therapy, everything has it vibrates in certain parts of our chakras, right? Yeah. And the 808s actually, because that's all that you hear in the music. 808s is basically the bass that you hear in the drum, all that low bass and stuff. And everything gets like this. So you wonder when you listen to the music why everybody feels like this after, right? It's depressing. It's very, they call it nostalgic, which means a lot of people are living in a pastime paradise in a sense. Kids, if I give you something that makes you sense nostalgia, you're not going to think about your future. You're going to stay where you are in a sense. So it's stagnant energy that's being fed through the music to our kids. Wow. And like, I'll listen to some of it because it might have a good bass drop, but I notice afterwards, I'm like, dang, man, I feel like I need to go get a drink. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times it makes you want to go smoke. That's what the music does. So everything is to dub you down, keep you down, push you down. And it's not positive vibrations, and this happens to be in our hemisphere, however, on our part of the world. Now, you go listen to music over in Europe. Like I recently just came back from Europe, and I had a great experience when I went there at the end of 2021. And the music was different. People were different. It was more vibrant, but everything was just live. You know what I'm saying? Gotcha. Here, a teacher yesterday said the most poetic thing that I think I had heard in a while. And he said, America's just one big coffin. And when he said that, I was like, dang, dude, you're right. He's like, yeah, it's dead. It's just, there's nothing here of life in the sense of things. And he's like, it's what you bring to it, but it's just everything is the media, the music, everything is just bringing us like this. So yeah, the music nowadays is trash, is death. It's not bringing forth life, and anything that does got a little bounce to it, it's talking about WAP or, like Megan Thee Stallion and stuff, and it's like, okay, have fun, but the strippers can't be the only ones having fun, but, and then there are some artists, they're putting out positive vibrations, like Beyonce before, she went on her hiatus. That's what I'm calling it because she's been gone for a little while. Yeah. She did put out some positive vibrations. She was putting out stuff to wake people up a little bit. It's like, y'all got to wake up. But yeah, it's
very interesting. And because music is whether I'm understand all the terminology, it's clear how impactful music can be, and that's one of the reasons why I'm shifting my perspective even as being a poet, because it's gone over. It's like just like a child develops, like in the beginning stages of being of writing. It was strictly for me, like it was in my journal pages, and it's just for me, like literally. No one else. And then at some point, okay, maybe I'll peekaboo here. But even then was limited. And I want to see, do you like it? Ooh, do you like it? And you put it out there trying to see other people's responses. But at some point I transition, and that's why I'm doing what I do, because because I feel like it's a call, if you will. Exactly. At some point, I realized it wasn't just for me. And there's a mandate to, and again, this is my perspective for those listening, there's a mandate to now, whether it be a voice, deliver a message, transform, whatever, in your lane with your voice, because no one can say it like you. And similarly, music, I often say the prophets of a generation are poets and musicians.
And musicians, yes.
We tell the story of a whole generation, of a whole decades and centuries. people past us, years to come, will listen to us and understand the history of what's happening.
Agree.
And so when I think about music, and I'm like, when you said that and you explained that, it made so much sense. There were times where I was just like, busted. I was just so busted and disgusted. So I immediately went to a song, and a particular song,
and it brought you
was
up.
feeding me. Either it was feeding where I was. It was feeding where I was. So and sometimes it was a gospel song. It wasn't always. It wasn't, sometimes that gospel song was, I don't know what they was doing, but it was feeding this sadness until I got over it. Until I began to say, you know what? Let's shift it a little bit. And music could do that so easily. So I totally get that. Like I said, we have these discussions. No, it's music. No, I'm like, okay.
I mean, everybody's thing is their own thing, but like, I don't know. I grew up also, like, my mom played like a lot of artists from her time. So like, I grew up listening to artists from the 60s and 70s, and like, I was sitting listening to Jimi Hendrix, Machine Gun, and like all of these cats. But like, even in that time, that was like you realize those were prophets.
Yeah.
And like, I agree 100% because like every era that we've ever had, it reflected in the music, like the classical era, the Baroque era, the Renaissance era, the Dada era, Impressionistic, all of that. It was musicians and painters and poets.
Yeah.
Those were the major influencers, but they also were reflecting what was happening politically.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I mean, even Nina Simone said it, the artist's, responsibility is to reflect the times. Yeah. So it's like, maybe they are reflecting the time, and maybe we just not aware of the time, so it's like, but I don't really accept that for myself, but but
that's a good point. I think it's important, at least it sounds like to you, to be a voice, be a sound, right, that is reflective of light, that is reflective of healing. And I always say this, like the person said, I said, man, the teacher said, America's a big coffin. So there's a lot of death, a lot of losses, a lot of dummying down, there's a lot of quick, fast, expedience things, which can take away from the process of masterpieces. And if you're not careful, you get caught up in it. I know I'm guilty. But here's what I'm clear about, I think, is that we all have a responsibility, right? In our lane. I made a decision some time ago. I don't have enough energy, time, or whatever to worry about everybody's hanging out. I got enough right here. If I would just focus, then the world can become a better place, because in this lane, it's a better place. And if you did that, and then the next person did that, then the whole world would really be
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So,
I agree.
I hear you on that.
Yeah.
Now, my segment is called Passion Projects, and I often introduce this behind this concept of, what is your passion, and then and also the other part of passion, because we're going to talk about that as well, which is the definition itself of passion and what that means for you as an artist. But one thing is, passion is often defined as, intense emotion, enthusiasm, or affection towards something. Passion is referred to these type of things. Some people refer to passion, when you're talking about their love affections and things like that. But that intense emotion, that's something that just invigorates you. That's usually one part of passion. So with that said, let me see. I think I'll ask you, what makes your heart skip a beat? What makes you smile so intensely that your face hurts? What is your passion in that way?
Honestly, it's two things, to be honest. Number one is my family.
Okay.
But number two is which is actually really number one, but my family always comes first. But my music and my art. Honestly, just when I'm music has been my lover. That's my first love.
I got you.
That music is how God talks to me.
Yeah.
When I was in my times of loneliness, my times of depression, my times of just nobody, it was music.
Yeah.
Music hugged me and loved me, so I hug it and I love it back.
Yeah.
And that really is my passion. Like, you want to see me smile, like, just give me a moment at the keys
Yeah.
and just let me make up my own words. I ain't trying to sit there and write a masterpiece, but just the right melodies, just let it sit in me. That's my passion. Like
Wow.
that's real for me.
Yeah.
That is reality. That's life. That's something that transcends beyond time, people, anything outside of self.
Yeah.
That's my home.
Yeah.
And I remember one time I was dating somebody, and they were like, "You love your music. You love your music so much." And I remember this sounds very poetic. I realized I was kind of dramatic at the time, but I was like, "Well, you might get my love if you learn to love me like music." And
that's a song too. Did you put it in the song?
Girl, I'm working on it. no, but like seriously, it's just just listening. It doesn't have to be my music. It can be just listening to like anybody's music. Like I just love listening to even orchestras. Like Rachmaninoff is one of my favorite composers, and he has the most beautiful piano concerto, which is number 2 in C minor. Okay. And I just love because he was a post-romantic composer. So the post-romantic, they're boom, boom, like they're all in their hearts and feelings, and you feel it in the chords and everything. And that does something. Like that is like that thing just takes me somewhere else. But that is I love music. Like I am music. I try to like people be like, yeah, we get it now, but it's like no, like music is something that I just can't explain.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, I feel it exudes. It exudes. Even as you were answering, it exudes from you. You know what I mean? The love for it, and as obviously a God-given, gift and love, that exudes from you. So I had another singer on my segment before, and I asked them. I'm gonna ask you too. So, and you've kind of explained it, but I'm wondering, poetically speaking, this is me being metaphorical.
Okay.
What does a perfectly executed song feel like? Or no, I'm sorry. What does a perfectly executed song smell like to you? That's what it was.
Smell like. Perfection does not exist.
Okay. Touche.
But if I would say it perfectly, I would say it smells like. Oh man, I have so many favorite scents actually, but the most warmest scents would be my grandmother baking during Christmas.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And she would bake so many different things. It was pumpkin pie and a sweet potato pie, and she would bake pecan pie. And the chocolate cake, German cake was particular. German chocolate cake.
Okay.
But I just remember those smells, and it was just that warm feeling, and that's what that would feel like to me.
Yes, so, yeah. Perfect. Well, perfection is overrated. That's one of the things I like to say, but that definitely is a perfect to me.
That's perfect. That's the closest I can get to that
feeling. Because I got you on that one. I mean, I can remember my grandmother. You're right. That when you described it, I immediately time travel to her house and kitchen, just overwhelmed with all the scents, and it was so good. It was so warm. It was so home. It was so much love. All of those feelings that you don't know that is happening until you reflect that's happening. So I got you. So passion, while it also speaks to enthusiasm and great love and great emotion, it also is another term used to describe the suffering of Christ, right?
Yeah.
It's called the passion, which is dealing with the crucifixion. And ultimately, the story of Christ, and as it pertains to this crucifixion, is that he became this sacrifice and experienced this intense level of pain and suffering for his intense love for mankind. So there's like that passion on both sides of the coin, in my perspective, right? But there is this passion, the passion, which is it's suffering. It's also the angst or the challenge or the push and the pull. So with that thought in mind, what are or is the challenge or the push and pull or the suffering related to your passion that you can explain and talk about?
The childlike manner that comes with being an artist. That childlike manner I've learned is in all artists who are like really true to their art, because in that it's a naive nature. And I've had to really go through some really rough bumps and hits to mature through knowing what I want. But also I went through a very hard season, and like literally during COVID, quarantine, because we still in COVID, but during quarantine, I was in a relationship for 2.5 years, and it was not a good relationship, but I learned what I did not want. But I had a cycle where I kept choosing people who I wanted to help, but who I couldn't technically love and who did not know how to love me.
Wow.
But in that also reflected a lot of my professional relationships as a musician. And we are musicians. We're like children, which is why a lot of us are not the best business people. But I learned how to be a good business person. But yeah, I would say that's the downside. You love people. You think everybody has a heart like you. And that's the thing. A lot of us artists, we come in this earth with a passion for other people.
Yeah.
And we want to touch people, but you can't touch and get too close. That's where the music does the work for you. Yeah. And you are just the vessel that's giving it, but you can't help everybody. And I think that was the hardest thing for me to learn, is you really can't help everybody. Help yourself first. And those who have seen the work that you've done in self will be motivated to then do the work. But it's just, you can't help everybody. You just put your bread out there where you can put it out, and hopefully it goes to the right birds, and that is not wasted among rats. So,
wow. You just keep dropping these.
Funny, huh?
I hope y'all taking notes out there, because she's just been dropping these wonderful, wonderful golden nuggets. I'm gonna have to watch this again, because I didn't get a chance to write it down quick enough. Because that was powerful. You know, wow, listen, guys, I'm gonna put it out here, because again, this platform is free. The artists come on, they donate their time, and they give of their expertise and wisdom. And you're hearing some great expertise and wisdom, not just about, I'm a singer and this is how you do it, but really about living this life of a creative, and living and being true to it, and processing through the bumps that come along with it. So that Rebekah, was just powerful to me. I'm going to take that with me, because that's so accurate, that there's such a innocence and like you said, childlike nature. It's so funny. Just maybe a couple of weeks ago, I said, why doesn't everybody just, why don't we all just want to get along?
Yeah, all creatives, we all have that childlike energy in us. So it's like, why can't we just share?
I think I reached out to somebody, another creative, and I reached out to them because I was like, hey, they're doing something that I am trying to do. You've been doing it, and hey, do you have a few minutes to just kind of, can I pick your brain for maybe 30 minutes? I know your time is valuable. It kind of gave me they did this whole bob and weave thing, and ended up standing me up and all that kind of stuff. So I remember thinking, gosh, why don't we just just share or be honest, just say something up front. I don't want to do that, and no thank you, or that I can appreciate that too. So I remember thinking that's powerful, that it's important to be aware of these things and then learn how to process through them. Wow, man, I can talk to you all night.
I talk back,
Right. Now this is Mother's Day, and this can be a challenging time for many. But I definitely heard you talk about your mom and how your mom, I think what you said was a pastor, or
she was a pastor
of a ministry, and you were part of the music ministry and all that good stuff. Which we probably should swap some notes on that one too. That's hard for that time in our life. How has your mom, because moms are it's Mother's Day, so I'm kind of focusing in here. How has your mom been a part or a role model or influenced your work? How has she in any special way?
My mom is like literally my biggest cheerleader, and I'm very blessed to have the mother that I have because I am such a sensitive child. And I was a sensitive child, and I'm a sensitive adult. I used to try to act like I was hard. I'm not. But my mother has. I was the baby in the family, you know.
Okay.
But she's just such a strong woman. And she's a creative. She's actually a painter and a sketcher as well.
Oh,
Her work
nice.
is like in the UK and everything. She's dope. Yeah, my mom. It's
Go,
yeah.
mom.
I'm so proud of her.
Yeah.
But my mom, like, since I was a kid, like, she told me that the world was tough. But my mom knew I was just one of those kids. She was like, "You naive, baby. You know, you gotta, you know." But she always had my back. And my mother and I, we were always close. But I was homeschooled from 7th grade all the way through high school.
Wow.
And that's when we really became close. And she's just that's my backbone. Like,
Yeah.
and you know, a lot of times it's hilarious because, you know, when you're real close with your mom, y'all might argue sometimes a lot, but we get over it in like no time. But like, no, I just, all I can say is I'm very thankful for her. Like, she's a blessing. She's influenced a lot of my work because my mother has always taught me to think big.
Yeah.
Think outside the box. Like, she raised me and my sister to be our own people. Don't care about friends, what they got to say, what they think. Friends come and go, they change. You know, she taught us family, you know, you take care of those who take care of you. And just the essence of just overall be a good person. Love on yourself, love those, but don't love others more than you love yourself. It's a sense of balance. You know, you have to learn how to love others just as much as they love themselves and as they love you. But just she was just giving. She is just one of those type of women. She was a pastor. She helped. I watched her help a lot of people growing up, and I think that's also where I get a lot of my heart from. Is from my mother. And she still to this day, she is just a rock star. She's nonstop.
Wow.
That's all I can say. But she's influenced a lot of my music. Just the concept. My mother has always been like, "What are you talking about? Talk to people. Like, what are you saying? What are you talking about? Connect with people. Why don't you? You know, like she's just like my mom has always been like, connect. That's you know." And every show she comes to, she cries and acts like she's never seen my shows a day in her life. Like, you know, it's hilarious. But I think the most profound performance I ever did was when she came to my senior recital in college. And I sang, it was like an hour-long recital. So it was a huge thing.
Yeah.
And the last song I did, it was actually a spiritual, and it was Lord, How Come Me Here? And it's Lord, how come me here? It's that song. And it's a woman who is talking about, why am I here? Like, they treat me like dirt here. They stole my children from me, all this stuff. And it was an intense song. And it happened so that my recital was on Mother's Day. But I cracked up because I tried not to laugh, but I looked out in the audience and my mom was crying. And but it's
just balling.
You know, like balling. But when you got like people that believe in you like that, it really does do something. And I'm definitely celebrating her this Sunday. And like my current partner I have just is amazing as well. And it's like celebrates my mother as well. So it's just so many blessings. But I'm thankful that I still have my mother. I can still call my mom. My mom call me every day. She want to talk about everything all the time, and I'm thankful for that because she's like one of my closest friends. Like that's literally, awesome. That's my best friend. So
yes, that's awesome. That's a beautiful thing. You know, it's a blessing. Exactly what you said. It's a blessing to have someone who cheers you on, who sees you, right? Who sees you for who you are. And then at the same token has no qualms about saying, hey, you know, try this, you need to do this, or come on, get yourself up, you know, those are the kind of people that we want in our lives. And often moms, grandmothers, caregivers, I don't want to be insensitive to that, are those ideally can be those first people in our life. We'll live a little bit and have others that may hopefully do that as well. But our moms, grandmamas and all them, they tend to be those initial cheerleaders, you know, backbone givers, you know, type of thing. So it's always
my grandmother.
Yes, Lord, have mercy, have mercy. My mother would, who is deceased, thank you. She was teaching me stuff at a young age. My mother died when I was 12, so she's been gone for a while. And not having a mother growing up is really rough because you don't know, and daddy wasn't there either, so you don't know the womanly wiles. You got to figure it out. I'm still trying to figure it out. But anyway, I remember my mother though. I so appreciate this woman because she would teach me things. She taught me things that are fundamental values to me now. She taught me integrity, like explaining what it looked like as a 7-year-old. So where adults I work with don't know nothing about no integrity. You know what I'm saying? Don't have character. Or she would say these cliches. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Don't take no wooden nickels. What are you talking about? I don't even understand. My mama don't know nickels are made of metal, not wood. It's you didn't know anything, but understanding. She was teaching me about life. And so even though it was a short time, there was so much she instilled core value wise. And with that said, what would you say are some of your core values?
Oh man. Honesty, integrity. My mother pushed that in us. She pushed us about character, having character, sticking to your word, being who you say you are. It's a lot, actually, to be honest. Like as I'm sitting here thinking about it, because like it was my mother and my grandmother. My grandmother, I lost my grandmother a year ago, actually, a year and a half ago. But they just taught us about life. Me and my sister, it was all about, there's so much wisdom, and it was just, don't let people treat you any kind of way, know your value, know your worth. But integrity was the biggest thing that they stood on with us. It was always about tell your truth no matter what. You be truthful, treat others the way you want to be treated. It was just, it's a lot. It was a lot. But I think the biggest thing too was my mother always taught us happiness is your choice as well. If you want to be happy, you choose a happy life for yourself and create it. It was like, don't ever let anybody be in control of your life. You're in control of your own life. And it was like your destiny, like you're in control of your destiny. It was just like a lot of self-awareness and responsibility of self.
We need to have Mama on the show. Mama need to do a masterclass.
Well, it's like I've seen my mother go through a lot, like my mother, she held it down. And she went through a lot of changes. And I'm like, I can't wait for the day she really does write her book. I'm serious, because I learned my strength and my way of being in this life simply by watching her. So
she sounds like a wonderful woman. I'm serious. I'm like, I feel like I need to sit under Mama's feet and talk to her.
Hey, yo, you welcome. She invites all new. That's how she is. Everybody is her child, literally.
Right. Everybody, come on in here, baby. Come on, let me talk to you.
That's how she is, literally.
Oh my goodness, this has been a wonderful conversation. So I have my last little section, and then I'm gonna exit, and you can do another piece. Because I'll be here all night. Let me do it. So let me before I get the Sandman on me, is this last section I like to call whimsy and wonder. Kind of silly questions, but there's always a little something in it that people can pull from. So let yourself be whimsical. It's all good. What would you rather jump in, an icy river or from a parachute from a plane?
From a plane.
From a plane. Have you ever done that before?
No, I want to though. Actually,
okay.
I'm scared of heights, but I've been facing fears as of late.
I am too. I keep saying I'm gonna do the I sky.
Yeah, I fly. Yeah, I
think myself ready.
Yeah, I know what you're saying though.
Yeah, that one of them things. Prepare myself because I ain't really down with the heights, but I kind of think I want to try one day. But I'd
rather do that than jumping in the icy river.
Yeah, I thought there's supposed to be this medicinal value for the river, but I can't stand it.
Yeah, they say it helps you with a whole bunch of like mind stuff and your body. It's good for the body.
Is there another way? Because it's too cold.
Yeah, that's a little too much. They got ice saunas,
Yeah. Hey, I'll try it. But I feel you. So without thinking, tell me the first word that comes to your mind when you hear this word, the word passion.
Love.
And purpose.
Ooh, it's a lot that just hit my head. I'm sorry. Drive.
Okay. Love it. And polyurethane.
You said what?
Polyurethane.
I don't know.
That's what came to my mind. I don't know, right?
Yeah,
I always crack up because I give 3 words, but the third word always changes to something else that starts with a P. So today I was like, that's the word that came into my head. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go with it. Probably your thing. I don't know either. Okay, so if you had a billboard space that you could that whatever you wanted to put on it, it would remain there well after you have passed on. But that billboard would always have your words. What would your billboard say?
When I was at my lowest moment, that was my highest moment.
Wow.
That's actually in my album Sober. It's in the intro.
Okay.
Yeah. Because sometimes, you know, when we're at the bottom of things, we think that is like the bottom. No. That is your time to elevate. You're in the most highest point of yourself, actually. As crazy as that sounds. Like, you are able to see everything at that point. Because you've hit the bottom. And it's like you get to actually all of a sudden see everything that got you to that point. And that's how you're able to grow.
That's powerful. Yeah. I need to remember that because they were, you know, I'd be like, this is terrible. But that's a good point. That's a different vantage point and different reframing where we are. All right. I'm going to exit and you're going to bless us and grace the virtual stage with another one of your pieces.
All right. I'm going to improvise something for you guys. I'm going to make up something on the spot. So. Tell me, can you hear me? Can you hear me, my baby? I've been singing your songs for so long. Tell me, can you hear me? Baby, tell me, can you see me as I see you? 'Cause I've been watching you for so long. I've been watching you for so long, baby. Tell me, can we connect? Tell me, can we connect? I've been wanting to see you and hear you, baby, as I want you to see and hear me too. Ooh. There's nothing like your smile. It captivates me every time, baby. There's nothing like your eyes, oh no. I get lost in them every single time. But tell me, do you see me the way I see you? The way I see you, do you see me the way I see you? Baby, I wanna connect with you. I wanna be one with you. I wanna feel you. Baby, tell me, can you feel me? Can you hear me? Can you see me the way that I see you? Oh my dear, oh my dear, oh my. Just made that up, but hopefully that was all right.
Oh, that was gorgeous.
Thank
that
you.
was absolutely
Thank you.
Oh, love to hear it.
Hi. Hello.
Hello.
If ever I wanted to just keep somebody, you know what I'm saying? Just
Right.
keep them. If ever I just wanted to keep them, you know, like I'm gonna take you home. Like,
Yeah.
like, I want this mine. You know how like a child be like mine. If ever I, no wonder you got this silky smooth shirt on.
I'm done.
Right.
About this shirt.
Oh my God, your voice is so amazing. It is some people that I can just listen to talk, like you know how like they're, you know, like that soothing voice, and some people like when you hear them sing, you can feel it in their soul. Like you know how you hear people and they can just sing, right?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, they can sing, it's nice, but it's some people when they sing, you can feel it, and you have it. You have that.
Thank you.
Trust me when I tell you. Yes,
Thank
in your
you.
bones, in your message. If ever you can wake up a heart, you say you want to wake up a heart.
I know.
Who says that? Who says I just want to wake up a heart? And that's one thing I've never heard before.
New prompt on write like a woman. Is that the new prompt on write like a woman?
No, wake up. Yes, I'm gonna have to do that. I would have to
Watch
do
out!
that.
Might show up on Love,
I'll
Sexy,
be
Classy, Nasty.
inspiration
Come on
from
now.
Listen,
Lord.
I need you to send me some songs. I'll make you a whole workshop. I'll make you the whole workshop.
Regular be the workshop.
Oh my God, that was amazing. And just you, I don't know how old you are, but I do know this is not your first time being here. I know that.
She got an old soul, right?
You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. You are amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, love.
I don't know. I'm just excited. I'll be like, my little cousin say, I'm excitement. That's what I am. I'm excitement. I don't even know what to ask because you have answered everything. If ever there was, you know, some of these people are just that we're talking about music, like you were talking about that. Like some of the music now is just music, right?
Yeah.
It's no message in the music at all.
Yeah.
And I love people who specifically write for a message, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know that you're writing for someone. And like you said, if it's just somebody, somebody, you know what I'm saying? It's not the artist, if it's just someone, that's amazing. So I'm ask, what's your zodiac sign?
I'm a Cancer.
You're a Cancer.
Yeah.
Like, where is the new music? Where is the concert? What?
Because we need to be front row and center.
We need to be
right.
Keep
where
an
is
eye
the
want some tickets.
Keep an eye out. You know, keep an eye out on Instagram. But June 19th, though, I do have a show coming up. It'll actually be at Creative Suitland's location. That I'm actually excited about that because that is actually another artist from California is coming out here with me, and we're doing the show together. And she is a healing artist. Like she does the sound bowls. Like you guys will have a sound bathing session and everything that happens.
Oh,
and it's gonna be nice because
I will create my own show.
Okay.
You said what day? Oh, just say June 19th?
Yes, ma'am. June 19th.
What time is that? That's Keep the Mic On night.
Oh, it is? Oh, I
is
think it's at 8 p.m. I think we're doing it from 8 to 9.
Keep the Mic On live from Creative Suit.
We need to pay. I'm down.
You know what? We could always pre-record. I think that's my way.
Y'all can look. Y'all can pre-record if y'all want to. Look.
Oh my God.
So one question I wanted to ask, because your interview was so insightful and so amazing. I'm going to pull one of my questions from my interview segment because, you know, let's take a moment to get you to know you a little bit better.
Okay.
And since you're a musician, I'm going to make the number bigger. The best concert venue you can think of is set up for you.
Okay.
You're in the audience. What are the 5 acts you would want to see on that stage playing for you?
Alive or dead?
Alive or dead?
Okay. Prince would be one.
Mm-hmm.
The second one would be Jimi Hendrix, not gonna lie.
Ooh.
The third would be Ella Fitzgerald.
Ooh.
How many I got?
You got 5.
The fourth would be James Brown, actually. That'd be nice. But then the fifth. Ooh. The fifth. I'm gonna be honest. Nat King Cole, actually. I know that's a mix right there, but
no, but that show works.
Yeah.
that show works. It so works. I would buy a ticket.
Yeah, that would be it. Like that's a good balance of everything, I feel.
Yeah, I feel like that something about that question gives me like insight to people, like their musical taste, and just a little touch of their personality overall. And I really like that mix of concerts.
That's a good, right? That's what I'm saying right now. That's probably happening in heaven right now. But yeah,
right. So,
Yes.
so my next question is, give me a location where you have not performed yet that you would like to perform, be it a particular concert venue or like a particular music festival or something along that line.
Okay. Coachella.
Oh, okay.
For sure. I got like a number of places actually. Like really, Coachella is one for sure. But honestly, I would love to perform in the UK, United Kingdom. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They would love you.
Yes.
They would.
Yeah.
We may never get back if you went. You may stay. They would love you for sure.
Yeah, I've been thinking about moving overseas actually, but we'll save that for another time.
Oh wow! But before you go,
Yeah.
I must be in your presence of song before you go.
Ma'am.
I have to do that.
Yes.
When people ask you what you do for a living, what do you say?
I'm a musician. I'm an artist. That's my life. That's what I do. I live, breathe, eat. That's me.
Yeah.
Cool. Now my mama is the person that I call when anything happens. Look at this man on the corner with his t-shirt on and these shorts. From mama, I done won the lottery, right? Everything. My mama is the first person that I call when anything happens.
Yep.
Who is your person?
My mama.
Your mama too?
Yeah.
Shout out to my mama. She loves this show. If she can't get it, it's a problem. Just like mama. Where's keep the mic on? I'm like, Mom, it's a holiday. Oh, okay. I'm trying to. My mama is that person.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
That is beautiful.
What other artistic outlet do you have other than being a musician? If there's one.
I do draw. I like to sketch. And I mean, in music though, it's like so many different layers of being creative. So like, if I'm not playing an instrument, a lot of times I'm actually notating music out. But really, like I sketch, and I even create crafts. I do stuff. I'm good,
you do things.
I do things.
You just again, some of that came from your past life that you be doing.
Yeah. No, but that's real actually. I got a big past life. I am aware of that.
That's what I'm saying. I was gonna ask you something else. Oh, what are you doing right now that your older self is gonna thank you for?
Oh man. Trusting myself, taking what I'm doing and really doing something with it, but just believing in myself fully, loving myself fully. Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
Ashe. You dropped so many. I'm like Miss Cayenne. I'm gonna have to go back and watch this again so I can see. I'm gonna say if anybody have any questions, go ahead and type them in the chat and let her. She's gonna respond in the chat and because number one is how can we support you? Put something to Cash App right now. This should not be free. She made up a whole song for us.
Right.
She paid for that. Right. She made up a whole song. That is amazing.
In the moment, like flowing.
Right. I'm here for it. So truly, Rebekah, our last question of the night. Now that you've been on the show and you've heard about our different segments, you're on Passion Projects with Miss Cayenne. My segment is called From Behind the Microphone. Girl Genius, her segment is called Let's Talk About the ... And Kaniki is Poets and Platforms. Who do you think would be a great guest for this show?
Oh man.
Or who
honestly,
would you like to see
for any of the platforms?
So there's this poetress actually who like I really enjoy. And Pioneer, the poet, actually, like I really like her vibe and her style, but she's just fun to talk to. And like I've just seen her also just transition so much, and she's just a ball of light wherever she goes. So she's awesome.
All
Yeah,
right. We will put her on the list.
Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah.
I missed the whole name. What was the name?
Pioneer.
Pioneer.
That's her
Okay.
stage name.
I thought I didn't know
somebody
that
else
was,
mentioned her too. I'm not sure. But
I didn't know that Pioneer was a name. I was like, you a pioneer of something. I didn't realize that Pioneer was the name. Okay, I was a little slower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as we close out, the first thing we want to do is everyone please give a huge round of applause for our guest this evening, Rebekah Laur'en.
Thank you guys. Not the round clap though.
A round of applause.
A round of applause.
A round of applause.
Right. As you know, we will be back next week at 7 p.m. with From Behind the Microphone, my segment. Ta-da! And our special guest is one of my favorite musical artists. So it's like a lot of music happening in May. We will be blessed with the presence of Black Root. And
wow.
Yes.
Wow.
That's awesome.
You know Black Root, Rebekah?
I've heard of his name actually.
Watch the show, Black Root.
I'm definitely gonna watch. I'm excited.
And I'm building me a show right now. Can I put the two of them on my show? Okay.
Right.
We gotta create a reason. We gotta create a reason to have Rebekah, because I'm telling you, I'm like, dog, I can stay here all night. But go ahead.
Right. Don't worry, Nikki, we'll work it out. We'll work
it out.
We'll work it out. All right. So everyone, please come back next week, 7 p.m. Stay safe. Wash your hands. We definitely want to see you back. Stay healthy. Please support our special guest this way.
Listen, today or any day.
Right.
Yes, any day.
Doesn't have to be today.
It doesn't have to be today or any day. And support us. You can follow us along all social media at Keep the Mic On. We definitely ask you to please like and subscribe us out on YouTube. I think we're over the 50 hump. I think we're pushing the 60 subscribers right now.
Listen, y'all just be watching. Y'all got to subscribe. Stop just watching. I know you're there. You put in the comments. Stop just watching. You got to subscribe. And I'm sorry, we did not ask Rebekah, how can we support you? How can the audience support you? Forgot to ask you that. Sorry about that. Financially and any thing that's not financially, how can you be supported?
Just follow, support, stream, share, tell your mama, daddy, family, friends, co-workers, everybody about me. Right. I'm serious. And flood the streets with my name. That's all I need. That's all I need.
I love it.
Yeah.
He's very poetic, right? Flood the streets
with my name. Sorry. Can I write a poem that starts with flood these streets with my name?
Yes.
Right?
You should definitely do that. I really want that's a good challenge right there. I want to hear what everybody write.
You know what? When y'all follow us, we'll be back next week.
Bye.
Bye.